I mean, there are people openly celebrating mass murder in our streets. I mean, we shouldn't be confused about that. That is what happened. It's not the pro-Palestine rallies that we see now. People are allowed to be pro-Palestine. Of course, they are, and voice their concerns about that issue. But what we saw in the wake of Hamas's attack on October 7th, prior to any response from Israel, was thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the streets of Western capitals celebrating, shouting, "Gas the Jews," jihad, and all sorts of other things. And so I think it's undoubtedly the case that we have let a lot of people into our countries who hate us and who hate our values and who will not hesitate to celebrate it when we're murdered.
The barbarians inside the gate, as you said. Now, you said that with a lot of feeling, and it moved a lot of people. Because by background, you understand that this has a long history. And the horrors of the Second World War, it just struck me that during the horrors of what happened to the Jews during the Second World War, one thing about the Germans was that they had enough of a sense of shame to try and hide what they were doing. But we now have people in our own midst. They're not trying to hide it. They're boasting about it. We had, an Islamic leader in Australia who referred to tears of joy streaming down his face at what Hamas was doing.
And not to take the mood down even further, John, but I don't see how this gets better, do you? I mean, if we are going to continue to have an open border, which is what we have in this country, allowing small boats to come in filled with people who do not go through checks, who do not go through any sort of identity verification. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they've come from. We don't know what type of people they are. We don't know what they want. Then we're going to increase the population of people, and some of them will be of this mindset. And of course, there is absolutely no chance that we're going to be deporting any of them. We've seen that this week. The police, it is, as of course you know, illegal in this country to incite violence and to support proscribed terrorist organizations like Hamas. When supporters of Hamas were chanting jihad in the street, and people reported this to the police on Twitter, excuse me, the police responded by saying that jihad means many things, including in a struggle, as if the people in the street are chanting jihad in that way. So it's very difficult to see how this gets better.
That's a very challenging proposition, but perhaps it might start with the forgotten people, if you like. The huge numbers of citizens who feel alienated in their own land and have been worried about losing their identity and losing their freedoms, starting to focus on what undergirds those freedoms and what our values are. That's what ARC's been about, so that we can build something more durable. We can say some things can be tolerated, but some cannot, if we're going to have a community that works, that's settled, that's free, that's prosperous.
Well, that's all very nice. I don't see that reflected in the political system that we have. We have had in this country a right-wing government for 13 years that have overseen this thing get worse and worse. And I mean, we saw only a couple of weeks ago in Brussels, there was a terrorist attack, a man who shot 2 Swedish football fans to death. This was somebody who came via Lampedusa, a small island in Italy. His asylum claim was denied in 2020. He was known to the authorities to be a jihadi. He was not deported, and he went on to kill 2 people. Are we going to have governments that take care of that problem? Who do we vote for in this country to take care of that problem? Who do people in Australia vote for? You tell me. Where are the political leaders who are going to address this issue? So I am temperamentally extremely optimistic about everything. But on this particular issue, I put this point that I'm putting to you now, and I'm sorry to depress you and your audience, to very senior people who've been in government, who've been in politics, and none of them have an answer.